Welcome to Homeschool Moms Unfiltered. I am your host, Meagan, and my fabulous co-host is...
Hi, I'm Amanda.
Hello. We are so glad you're here. If you are looking for some homeschool mom friends who are all about authentic homeschool advice, you found us. We don't do the perfect influencer thing around here.
Yeah, true story. Look, we love homeschooling and we love being with our kids. But if something is an absolute shit show, we're going to own it and we're going to say it. That way, when you have those days, you'll know it isn't just you, right? Like you're not alone.
Yeah. I mean, we all have those days, right? And anybody who pretends that they don't and every day is just sunshine and rainbows, they're full of it. They're just absolutely full of it. That is not the vibe here. The vibes we do rock here, though, are secular and progressive values. So what does that mean? Well, this week, it means we are cheering on the people who are re-chalking the rainbow crosswalk outside of the Pulse nightclub every chance they get. I can't even believe that time, energy, and funding went into removing that.
We're taking care of the important things these days.
Right. And the pro-life crowd is really cheering this on. I'm like, this is a memorial to so many people who senselessly lost their lives, but not those lives. We didn't mean those lives. Those
not
lives
those
don't
lives.
matter.
Exactly. Pro-life does not mean pro all people alive, right?
Exactly. Just fetuses. It really just includes, which aren't even people. So it's just the fetus. Yeah. So anyway, beyond that, we proudly affirm that no human being is illegal. End of story, but especially on stolen land. So there's that. And given the recent Minneapolis school shooting, we are beyond ready, beyond for some common freaking sense gun laws. Like, for fuck's sake, why is this so hard? I saw something today online that said the Second Amendment crowd that's been shouting from the rooftops about a tyrannical government and needing to be armed because of government takeover. They're pretty quiet right now, right?
Yeah.
It's happening. Where are you?
Oh, well, and I mean, if you're in the wrong corners of social media, they're fucking ecstatic with the way that it's going down. It's like, I can't, I'm not even, but I mean, I will be that snowflake today. I'm not even ready for common sense gun laws. I want there to be significantly less, like almost no guns. You need a rifle to hunt for your own food because that's how you feed your family. Like, I get it. Okay, fine. But beyond that, like, what the fuck do you need guns for? Like,
exactly.
You are not overthrowing the government with nuclear weapons and everything else. Like, it's not like, just sit down and shut. I'm done. I'm done.
Like, no, I'm in the exact same spot.
When like the whole world, like nowhere, it's like there's nothing that can be done, says the only country in the world that has this problem. Like, okay, there
exactly.
You go.
Yeah. We had a contractor who was working on our house in South Carolina who was like, oh, by the way, just super casual in conversation. Tonight's ladies' night at the gun range, which P.S., this was the same gun range. It was the Armory, the Palmetto Armory, which was right near my house, that when Trump was doing a tour, he went to the Palmetto Armory to shake hands and kiss babies, like right by my house. It was lovely. And he was like, it's ladies' night at the Armory if you're interested. And I was like, I'm practically a Quaker, but thanks for letting me know. End this conversation.
There's been so much going on. It's such a dumpster fire. I just saw information today that I was like, I don't know how I missed it, because apparently last week, like, it became official policy that the federal government will no longer cover gender affirming healthcare for federal employees, but they will cover conversion therapy. Like, are you fucking kidding me? The scientific research is so clear on that, beyond just like, let's be reasonable, decent human beings. Like, I don't know. In today's world where the supreme leader is violating the Constitution left, right, and center, and his morons are still like, he's amazing, but don't you dare touch the Second Amendment. Like, we can get rid of all the other amendments. Top people in the federal government believe that women shouldn't have the right to vote. And yet, like, don't touch the Second Amendment. The love of God. Like, I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and just last week during our update, you were talking about how you all, or not you, but your family went for their COVID vaccines. And there you go. Yeah. The announcement came out this week about restrictions on COVID vaccines. And I'm like, I can't, right?
Yep.
I can't.
we went and got him because we had heard, right? Like it got leaked that they were going to label it so that now it has to be off label for my family who wants to help protect me and my high risk status. Now it's legally off label according to the FDA. The whole thing is ridiculous. And the CDC, I don't know, you aren't here, so you might not have seen it, but the CDC walked out today and they're chanting. Yep. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. Something like, but not RFK. Like, I just, yeah, we could go. The whole episode could be what a dumpster fire the U.S. is right now. But
yeah, I know. We have our Patreon one of our Patreon lives tonight, which will talk about homeschool stuff and whatever, but I can almost guarantee you there'll be more of this over there. Yeah. So, I mean, it's all absurd, but here we are. Okay. We're here today. We are going to attempt to set the dumpster fire aside for just about an hour-ish, maybe, and focus on homeschooling. Specifically today, we're going to be talking advice for newbies. It's the start of the school year in the US, which is where the vast majority of our audience lives. And every year, the homeschool community grows by leaps and bounds.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the thing. We love it. We love welcoming newbies, but there's a steep learning curve for a lot of people when they choose to start homeschool.
True story, right? So today's episode, we'll be sharing things that everyone who is new to homeschooling should know, according to the law of Meagan and Amanda. If you're not new to homeschooling, it could also serve as a back to basics, a reminder when you're kicking off the new year. Sometimes you just need those like, okay, I've got this. No matter how long you've been doing it, it's good to just kind of have that refresher. So stick around and hang out with us.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. We talked just a couple weeks ago about how you were kind of feeling the stress and like, oh, we need to, like, I'm not on top of it. I'm not on the ball. It's the same for us. We officially started school this week. This past week was like our kickoff into the school year. And, it's that constant struggle between like, well, we're not doing enough, but we specifically wanted to ease into the new school year. But I still haven't actually bought the math class and I should probably get that bought. And but I know that I don't want to use it this week. So why am I worried about paying for it this week? It's hard. Everyone, even those who have been doing it for years and years, can sometimes use just a little bit of it's okay. You know what you're doing. You're doing it for a reason. You've got this. So I think this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to it, but we do always start off our episodes with a weekly recap. It's part of our whole keeping it real vibe here. So how's your week going, Meagan?
It's pretty good, kind of status quo. If you listened to last week, I mentioned we're at a pet sit in the UK because we had to leave Portugal because our visas haven't come through yet. I did get an email last week from the consulate requesting more documents. Super fun. I mean, when I tell you I showed up to that appointment with a 3-inch binder of documents, and I mean, you have to have fingerprints and everything has to be apostilled. And I mean, it is intense, right? Like it is not a project for weaklings to try to pull all this paperwork together. Thankfully, they only wanted paperwork related to one aspect of our application. And I was like, okay, no problem. So they just wanted some additional examples and copies of this and that, whatever. So I took some time this week to pull that together. But our pet sit ends tomorrow. So today was cleaning day. So I'm rocking a messy bun if you're watching on video because I was just busy all day. And then we went out to get an early dinner because the kitchen was clean. And I was like, no one's using the kitchen. It's been cleaned. So tomorrow we leave for London. I'm super pumped about that. My daughter and I are going vintage shopping at Brick Lane this weekend. So I'm super pumped. She's looking for a dress for an event she's going to in Spain in October. They're having a fancy dance. So she'll be good about that. And yeah, day 12 with no caffeine and I'm still alive. I shouldn't say no caffeine. Hold on. I gave myself a rule that if we eat in a restaurant, which we don't do a ton, I'm allowed to have caffeine in a restaurant because typically if we go to a restaurant, it's like I'm having pizza and I can't have pizza without a soda. It's just those two things go together, but none in the house. So I'm like, okay, and we eat the vast majority of our meals in the house. So, but I'm still alive. But yeah, Astrid and I have been having a Friends marathon this week because it's on Netflix. I don't know if it's back on Netflix in the US or not, but here it's on Netflix. We're up to season 4. That was back in the day when TV shows had like 24 episode seasons, none of this 8 episodes and then wait 2 years bullshit like we have now. So it's taking us a while, but we are being quite diligent about it. So we're on season 4. I'm plugging away.
Nice.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was in high school, I remember that my friend Janice wasn't allowed to watch Friends and I was, and which was strange because I was not allowed to watch MTV. I wasn't allowed to watch Bugs Bunny when I was a kid. And somehow I managed to squeak in Friends. I'm not really sure how that happened. And I remember Janice's grandmother said, Right, exactly. Janice's grandmother was like, everybody's just rolling around in the sheets all the time. And I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. When you watch it as an adult with your teenager, you're like, this is entirely about sex. Like the whole show is about, and I'm like, how 8 o'clock on NBC? I mean, like there's so much sexual innuendo that I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, she's old enough to watch it, but I'm just like, Janice's grandmother was freaking right. There's a lot of sex in there. But anyway, like it's not overt because of, it was 8 o'clock on NBC, but oh my gosh, it's tons and tons of sexual innuendo. So anyway,
Yeah.
how's
No,
your
I
week been,
totally,
Amanda? Oh, sorry.
well, I was just going to say, I've totally noticed that, right? Like when we go back and rewatch like older shows or whatever, we've been rewatching Numbers in our house lately. And another one of those, like, yes, it does have like some violence. There's robberies and kidnappings and things like that. But for the most part, it's primetime television as well. So none of it is anywhere close to what you'd see in movies or things like that. But the amount of times that you see people having sex, and it definitely makes it easy to broach those topics with your kiddo, right? Like it's easy to have those conversations when it's just popping up. That's a nice segue into what I'm doing this week. I'm in Vegas with my kid. We had decided to just come for like a week and make it like a chill week in Vegas. There was a great deal, an incredible deal. So for anyone who listens on the regular, we do a lot of points and travel hacking. And I really like my top tier status with Hyatt. And we were able to do, it's kind of a mattress run. It's not exactly, but we got a bunch of points. And so we're stayed for like 5 nights and it was only like $173 for 5 nights total. Plus we get free breakfast for everyone every day at Hash House of Go-Go and all that kind of jazz. So I was like, oh, this will be a fun thing to do. Like, let's just go. And it's a nice change of scenery and a fun way to start. And so, my kiddo's first day of school, we went and did the tour of Hoover Dam, which was disappointing because it's full of ridiculous propaganda now and a lot of information has been removed. And so that was really sad and unfortunate, but it is what it is with the way that we're living right now. But then we've had some other fun. We did this show called Wow. It's like a Vegas review, right? So you have all these different things going on, like some toned down Cirque du Soleil type stuff and singing and dancing, like some magic acts and the crossbow woman who shoots the apple off the head and all those kinds of things. And so it was just a fun way, like kind of like a throwback of like, oh, this is what it is. And then we went and walked yesterday. So I'm exhausted today because yesterday we started at New York, to check it out. The kid was really interested in how they build these kinds of things and how they are able to bring this to life. And he really wanted to see New York, and he wanted to see Caesar's Palace. And then we walked the strip and did everything in between. And we popped into Paris, which is always fun. I don't know. It had been a while. I say a while. It had been, I don't know, at least 15 years since I'd been anywhere close to New York. So that was interesting. Some fun changes and things like that. And just, like it's been nice. It's been good. Like I said, this was our first week of school. So because we're with one of those public school charters in California, we had to do iReady assessments this week, which is kind of intense. It's adaptive and not always enjoyable for kiddos. I would say rarely enjoyable for the vast majority of kiddos. And I don't really recommend iReady outside of these kinds of things. But we got through it. We got it done. And again, kind of like slow rolling into things, doing some easy stuff, trying to just enjoy ourselves tonight. Yeah, we have this. Today's actually a bit, I'm so tired from yesterday. I literally stayed in bed until like 12:50. We were supposed to start recording at 1. I was like a solid 15 minutes late for Meagan to start recording because I was like, I have to get out of bed. I have to put something on that resembles clothing and take my hair out of my wet bun from last night. So I made it and we're doing this. And then I'm going to attempt to secure lunch. And then we have our live with other people. And so that'll be enjoyable. It's always a good time. But as soon as that's done, I have to get ready and put on something other than my daytime hotel room pajamas, which is what I'm currently wearing. If you can't tell, if you're watching in video, you put on real clothes because we're going to the Penn and Teller show tonight. So hopefully that'll be fun. And then afterwards, I have $10 of free slot machine money on my players card. So I'm gonna go play my $10, see if I can't make $15 out of it. We'll see what happens there. So I'm a big spender like that. I usually set like a $10 a day limit for myself, and they gave me $10. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I don't even have to spend my own $10. Great. Yeah, clearly a big gambler. There's a real problem here.
Very weird. Well, I hope you love Penn and Teller. We saw them a number of years ago and they were fantastic. So I hope you like them.
Yeah, it should be good. The kiddo had said that the shows are really, he thinks, his highlight of this particular trip. I enjoy Vegas. He actually just asked me why I'm like coming to Vegas, because we came last year, early summer as well. And I said, for me, the thing with Vegas is, yes, it has this reputation as like a big party city where everyone is naked and drunk and all of that jazz. But for me, the wonderful thing about Vegas is that there's so much to do.
Yeah.
You can literally have fun no matter what it is that you like doing. Maybe if you like complete silence, that might be a little challenging depending on where you're staying. Maybe stay at a hotel that doesn't have a casino in the lobby. But, I mean, there's mini golf and there's indoor mini golf if it's really hot, and there's pools and, like there's the party pools, and then there's just the swimming and lounging pools, and you can go do Hoover Dam tours, and there's hiking just outside the city, and you can go to the Grand Canyon if you wanted, and you've got shows. There's so many options. I'm not down for the zombie burlesque. I saw that just advertised. I was like, I don't really understand that, because like, I like burlesque. I quite enjoy burlesque, but it's like kind of a sexy thing. And I just can't get down with zombie. Like, that's not, I don't know. But yeah, for the most part, like, I mean, again, if that's your thing, right? Like, there's something for everyone.
Something for everyone.
Yeah.
Yep. True story.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get back to the topic. So like I said, we're going to tackle things for the newbies or the school year starting. I'm feeling like things are like, what am I doing? So we're going to start with the most frequently asked questions, the head scratchers, or, maybe like the potholes that people who are new to homeschooling might accidentally find themselves in. Number one, starting off, deschooling. Deschooling. If you haven't listened to us before, if you are new to Homeschool Moms Unfiltered, or you've been listening to us and you were like, oh, deschooling, that sounds like something we wouldn't want to do, I'm not going to listen to that episode. Please, for the love of all things, please go listen to the deschooling episode. It is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, we see this cycle that happens every year where people pull their kids. And even if you pulled your kids in May or June and you finished out the school year and then you took summer break and now you're starting, summer break does not count as deschooling. There needs to be that break, that time. Even if you have a kindergartner or a pre-K who's never been to school, you need to deschool. So it is super essential. So what we see then is this cluster of posts in Facebook group, December, January, February, right? Where it's like, oh, we barely made it to December and it didn't go well. And, we've all cried and I don't know what to do. And maybe I need to send them back in January. The comments will always be filled with questions. Did you deschool? Did you deschool? Did you take time to deschool? And the answer is, oh, no, we didn't because we, X, Y, and Z, whatever. Deschool. Take the time now.
Yeah, no, that's it. Exactly. I've said it before. I'll say it again. We include it in our courses. We include it in the deschool episode, but I like to use this analogy about relationships. School is, for better or worse, it's kind of like a toxic relationship, right? If you have pulled your kids from school because it wasn't working, it wasn't working. And if you are a grown-up who's listening to this podcast, you've probably had a relationship, or you've had a friend who's had a relationship and it just wasn't a good relationship. And we all know that when you finally leave that relationship, you've got a couple choices. You can dive into a new relationship straight away. And even if it is the world's healthiest, bestest, greatest relationship ever, it is still going to have way more bumps and struggles because you didn't take a little bit of time and space to handle all of the baggage you accumulated from your past toxic relationship. But if you take a little bit of time between relationships, your new relationship has a much better chance of being all of the amazing things you're hoping from it. And it's the same with school, right? And like Meagan was saying with the whole deschooling, a lot of times people will be like, oh, well, we deschooled during the summer. But a huge part of the deschooling process is the fact that everyone knows, right? If you went to any sort of brick and mortar school, you know that summer is summer break and it's off, and then you're dreading starting school in the fall. It is no different from grown-ups who are like, you love the weekend, and come Sunday night, you're like, I gotta do all of this stuff and get ready for the week because Monday I've got to hit the ground running. And you start like worrying about your meal prep and are the bags packed or what am I gonna do? Or, like all the things. It's the same kind of idea. And so it's so important for you to not start school when everyone else is, to take that little bit of break. So it's really clear for you and your kiddos that, like, okay, we're not doing what we've always done. We are purposefully, intentionally doing something different. And that means we're going to start out this school year by not starting school. Maybe we're going to do some fun field trips. Maybe we're going to do some baking. Maybe we're going to watch a series of documentaries that we've always wanted to watch, but we just didn't have time because no one could agree to watch it on family movie night because it wasn't actually a movie. Whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's a big bucket list trip that you've always wanted to go on. You couldn't find the time to make it happen. This is your chance to do these kinds of things to show, like, we are intentionally doing something different. And when we're ready to actually start, we'll be there and we'll be ready. Deschool, please, please deschool.
Yes, please. Most veteran homeschoolers will tell you deschool. Yeah. Yep. And ironically, some of the ones who don't, when you listen to them talk, you're like, you still need deschooling. That those ones who are not recommend, like, there have been people homeschooling for like 4 or 5, 6 years that are still, we're like, you look at them and you're like, oh my gosh, you really need to deschool. Yeah, definitely take the time.
And the thing is, you don't have to like deschool and become a hardcore unschooler. That's not what deschooling is about. Like, I'm still, if you're new to us, right? Like, I'm still a very aggressive academic homeschooler. We have a lot of structure. We do a lot of that kind of stuff in our home. Deschooling is more about knowing why you're doing it and making sure that you're making the decisions that work for your family and your kiddo. Not just because, like, well, this is what they do in public school, or this is what I did, or I think we should. It's this, like, this is what works for my kiddo, or my kiddo's goals are this, or our family's goals for my kiddo and our family are these things. And so these are the pieces that are going to work and help us get there. And then again, we talk about it all the time, but that flexibility to be willing to change when it's not working, that doesn't happen in brick and mortar school. A teacher can't just say, like, oh, well, half the class isn't really getting this curriculum, so you know what? I'm just going to change curriculum mid-year and we're going to do something that they really get. They don't get to do that, but you do. And you might not be comfortable doing that if you haven't taken the time to deschool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right. So yes, definitely deschool. The next thing is, after you've deschooled, or if you're an existing homeschooler who's returning to homeschool this year, just a gentle reminder, the goal of day one is not to stack up a pile of textbooks on your kitchen table with a thud that resembles an earthquake and be like, we're doing all of these today. No one's going to enjoy that. I mean, Amanda's been homeschooling for basically forever and is an aggressive academic homeschooler. And you just heard her in the intro talking about they're easing in. They're taking it slow. Ease in. Start with something your kid loves. Okay. Start with something that's going to give them confidence, that they're going to enjoy, that's going to be fun. Start with stuff that's hands-on. All of the above. And then ease in. You can slowly but surely add to stuff as you are working. So the goal of day one is not a full schedule. We see so many color-coded schedules posted in Facebook groups from newbies, and we love your enthusiasm. We really do. Like, love you. You're adorable. But if that's your plan for day one, week one is that color-coded schedule, oh, it's not good.
So hard. You're all going to be so sad about how your first week of homeschooling went. You're going to be exhausted. They're going to be frustrated. For us, Meagan said, start with something you know your kiddo loves, and you can totally do that. And we did that a little. Our history this year, this week we're reviewing our textbook from early times. Next week, we're going to review middle times. And when I told my kiddo that I just needed him to read like a fifth of the kind of like overview highlights of things that we had done from each year, on a day, he was like, oh boy, that's so hard. I hate reading. He's a big reader, right? So he was like totally fine with that. But the flip side is we started, the one curriculum that we really started with this week was our like vocabulary and grammar review. Not the hard stuff. We have hard stuff, but we also use a curriculum that has review stuff. And the lessons are really these bite-sized nuggets that take 5-10 minutes tops. And like, just do a couple of these each day. He loves it because it's so easy, but he knows he's checking things off. And by the start of next week, he's going to be into double digits of lessons. And then we might slowly start adding in our more challenging grammar curriculum where he has to really think and read more dense text and things like that. Start off easy, easy things that get you in the flow of like, okay, all right, we're doing this. They do it in public school. My friends whose kids are in public school, all they do is bitch and moan about the fact that it takes 3 weeks for the kids to open their math textbook, which again is maybe a little extreme for public school. But, like, if they can do it and take that long getting around to their math textbook, you can definitely take a week or two and ease in. It's okay. 100%. Yeah. Okay. So we embrace all types of homeschooling. We really do. And we understand that there are times and places for specific types of homeschooling that we might all agree it's not ideal. But sometimes it's the best option of a lot of bad options. So I'm putting that preface out there before I say this, because there are 100% times when it's the best option of a lot of bad options. So please proceed with caution when it comes to using any kind of fully online curriculum, especially if it's something that's like virtual school at home where your kiddo is going to be on a computer all day long, in and out. They don't have any flexibility. It's every day. Like, that is just brutal. None of us enjoy having to sit through those kinds of online trainings. Your kiddo's not going to be any different. Like, they're going to appreciate not having to get up and put on real clothes unless you're one of those moms that makes them. But like, beyond that, they're going to be bored, right? And then there are the other types that are, just, oh, well, this one program does all of the things for us. So, right now, everyone is talking about, what is it? Power homeschool? Is that the one? Like, it's not secular. We don't recommend it. And it's crappy. It's a pretty crappy curriculum anyway. But beyond that, well, everyone's talking about it right now because they like raised the price and did stupid things and like, oh, what should we do instead? But the fact of the matter is, with those kinds of programs, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, kids can figure out pretty quickly how to pass a lesson without actually retaining much. It's all online. Click a couple things. It's just not your best option if there's any way at all to avoid it. And if you're listening to us, please don't sign up for Power Homeschool. Please don't give them your money.
Yeah. And did you see that Time for Learning just changed their entire curriculum, like with like 2 days notice, and pissed off a bunch of people too?
No, I missed that. But I mean, it's that like capitalism at its finest, right?
Yeah,
like,
they probably saved 4 cents a student or something.
Yeah. And there are so many people who are worried about sending their kids to school for a whole host of reasons. They don't know for sure what they're doing. They're concerned about whether or not they're making the right decision. And they want someone who's just going to take their hand and say, like, we will teach your kiddo everything and you can do it from the safety of your own home. It's all good. And again, if that is your only option right now, because say everyone is working full time and you don't have the ability right now to like homeschool and be actively involved in what you're doing at home, and you just need something for that like stopgap to fill in that space while you figure out how you're going to make this work. Okay, that happens. And we also use, Megan and I both, we use online classes, we use online programs. Like, my kiddo's doing IXL for informational text this year. It's fine. Last year, he did some Spanish supplementation and some random ELA stuff with IXL. It's a perfectly fine program. I think Khan Academy is a perfectly fine program. We do tons of outschool classes and other kinds of online classes. We're not saying you can't use online resources. We're saying be very, very, very careful about only using an all-in-one online program for your kiddo. Homeschooling works really well when you can be actively involved in your kiddo's learning and helping make sure that they are enjoying the things that they're learning and they're learning in a way that works well for them and they're retaining the information. And really, you can only know that if you're involved in their education.
Yeah, 100%. And I would love to add to that too, that I think sometimes the draw for people for some of these online programs is that they will give you report cards or transcripts. To me, a program that's going to give you a transcript or even a program that's like, we're accredited. Okay. It reminds me of those commercials that they have on television where they show somebody holding a bowling ball on paper towels and they're like, our paper towels are so strong, they can hold up a bowling ball. And I'm like, well, that's great. But I don't know when the last time I needed to hold a fucking bowling ball on a paper towel was. Like, this is so pointless, you know? Like, this is the dumbest thing ever. It is not hard to do a high school transcript. Do not pick a lousy online program that is not going to serve your kids as well just because you're afraid to do the transcript or you don't know where to start or whatever the case might be. There's tons of resources. I do coaching sessions where I'll help you build a transcript. We did a whole book club series last year on high school transcripts and portfolios. There's so many resources out there. A transcript is not a reason to pick a program because some of the ones that offer transcripts are some of the lousiest programs out there. It's not a good trade-off.
Yeah, no, totally. And it's something, right? Like we're going to talk more about all of these things, but your kiddo is going to do great and you can do great. And there are resources. We're happy to help you. You don't have to come to us. We have free resources. We have paid resources. Like there's so many things out there that can help you make it work in a way that your kiddo is actually really happy and you're really happy with what they're doing as well. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, the next one is that if you are homeschooling a peanut, and by peanut, we mean anyone kindergarten or under, that your peanut does not need to be, and dare I say should not be, in most cases, doing seat work. There are 10 gazillion studies out there that tell us that our littles learn best through play, that they need hands-on engagement, that they learn best through play. And we have done tons and tons and tons of research on this. So it's not just me and Amanda sitting here being like, this is what we think. We have read the 10 gazillion studies and done all of these things. We did an episode last year called What the Fuck Did We Do to Kindergarten, where we really dug into how kindergarten standards have changed. And here's the deal. If the United States was leading the world in global education standards and we were just on fire, I'd be like, yes, let's mimic what is happening there. But we're not. And there's a reason that you've chosen not to put your kid in that system. So let's not do that thing. All right. There are countries like Finland, like Germany, like Japan. And these are countries where their littles are not doing schoolwork until 6 and oftentimes even 7 years of age. Their kids are barely in school, number of hours per day. Granted, there's a beautiful safety net in those countries that helps people care for their children if they have to work. We don't have that in the United States, which is why our 5-year-olds go to school all day long. So they've got that, but their littles are playing. So it doesn't matter that all of your friends' social feeds are filled with their kids taking AR tests and all this kind of stuff. There's a reason you've chosen not to do that thing. And your little, so much better off. Earlier is not better. We know this 100 times over. So yeah, trust us. We've got it. And we've got the studies to share with you.
Well, that's it. We have a course that's called, what is it? Reimagining Kindergarten or
Preschool and Kindergarten Reimagined.
There we go. We have this course and in it, we talked about it. We dove into this and we show, right? Like, again, it's the research. The research shows that like early academic instruction versus later academic instruction, the kiddos are at the exact same place when they're 10 years old, except that those who had the earliest academic instruction are starting to check out at 10, 11, 12. They already are burning out and they don't care and they don't want to keep going. And I don't know why we still think that's like a good thing. And the interesting thing is like Meagan mentioned Japan and Germany. Germany at one point was like, maybe the US is doing it right. And we want to be more like the US and not so much like Finland, those crazy neighbors to the north. And so they tried doing it the American way. And they were like, oh my God, this is a terrible idea. Like, abort mission. And they went back to the, like play-based and academic instruction a bit later. And like, it's made a huge difference. Like, again, you do not have to take our word for it. We've done the research. We distilled the research down in a way that makes it easy for you. We provide the links, whether it's on the podcast episodes and like the show notes or in the courses. Like in the courses, we have the links available, the clickable links there for you to be able to go look at yourself if you want to be able to look at it for yourself, or you want to send it to someone who's a little too nosy and like putting their nose up in your business when it doesn't need to be, right? But yeah, we have that course. That's the one for peanuts. It's awesome. We have other ones too that totally apply to everything that we're talking about. If you're interested, if you're listening to this and you're thinking like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do better, but I just don't really know what. We have like Homeschool 101. It's the No Panic Boot Camp. And it's just all of the things that you want to be thinking about. It helps you figure out how you're going to do deschooling in your home. It helps you figure out like what you really want your homeschooling to look like and how you're going to get there. The whole point is we really want to help step by step figure out what you want and then how you're actually going to get there. I wish there had been something like that out there when I was starting. It would have been so helpful. And then if you've been doing it for a while and you're like, okay, we've been doing play-based, we've been doing this, but I really feel like my kiddos are asking for a little bit more structure, or they're really interested in doing a bit more with math and science or this or that. We have one that's picking homeschool curriculum, right? It's the Smart Start Guide to Homeschool Curriculum or something like that. And it's like, it's great because it's not you have to do all of this curriculum and this is the order you have to do it in. It's just loads and loads of good resources, options that are secular, that are progressive, that meet whatever your learning style is or your educational desires or goals. It's just full of resources. So like, we have these courses, and I don't want it to sound like it's a huge pitch because it's not, right? The courses are great. They're super helpful and they're really affordable. You can find them like on our social media, and you can find them from our website and probably here in the show notes, whatever else. But definitely check them out if you're thinking like, I could just use a little bit of something. It's definitely going to give you a lot more than a little bit of something. There's a workbook that comes with it. You can print it off. Soon we're going to have it available for purchase, so you can get a hard copy if you prefer that. But they're just truly, they can be uber helpful if that's kind of where you're at in your journey.
Well, that's it. I was thinking about the workbook when you were talking about deschooling before, because it's one thing to listen to that and be like, yeah, I agree with what they're saying. That's amazing. What am I doing now? Right. And so the workbook is literally step by step of all of that kind of stuff. So I'm like, yes, that's where it's at. And to your point, I mean, I've been homeschooling for 10 years. I totally wish that this was available back then, because I was going to the park and just sitting at a picnic table going, what do I do? What do I do? And you're getting information from all these different people, but you don't know that it's backed by research. You're just kind of taking people's advice, and it's ranging wildly. So then you're like, well, now what do I do? Because you just told me one thing over here and you just told me one thing way over there, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do because they completely canceled each other out. So yeah, it's nice. It's helpful. I must apologize because while you were talking, I had a dog emergency that resulted in me making like a horrendous face if you were watching on video. I shouldn't say a dog emergency. That was over dramatic, but one came bursting through the door and then there was like a loud crash and I was like, what the hell is going on? So anyway, I'm back. Sorry about that. Anywho, yeah. So show notes, check the show notes. Okay. All right. Next tidbit of advice is something that I picked up when I started homeschooling. I kind of an oddball mix of type A and type B personalities. And so I did go to the library and check out every single solitary book they had on homeschooling when I decided to start, and decided to read all of them while taking copious notes. And so the biggest theme that I took from the books that I read was, if you feel like a salmon swimming upstream, if your days are really hard, if you and or kiddo are in tears, all of the above and more, you're doing it wrong. And there is no wrong way to homeschool. I shouldn't say that. Extreme child neglect is the wrong way to homeschool. But truly, there's so many ways to homeschool. So many ways to homeschool. what you're doing might be the wrong way for you. It might be working for the lady at the picnic bench who told you what she's doing and you just went home and copied the exact same thing, which is valid. I mean, I probably did the same thing when I started, right? I mean, that's all that I really had to work from. But if your days are really hard, it is up to you to take a step back and to retool and go, where are we going wrong? Why is this so hard? What is triggering this? What's happening before these meltdowns? What's making us dread school every day? All of the above. And one of the things that we teach in our courses and we talk about in the podcast is not spending a quadrillion dollars on curriculum when you are new to homeschooling, because odds are pretty good that you're going to need to make some tweaks depending on how much analysis went into your curriculum choices. You might be making more than some tweaks. You might be doing a complete overhaul. And it's really, really hard to drop curriculum that you've spent a fortune on and realize you need to do something else. When you're like, I blew more money than I even should on this curriculum. There's no way we can just quit 3 months into it. So we're just going to have to plug away at it and do something else next year. And that means you're salmon swimming upstream for the entire year. So it's best to ease in and take it nice and slow, figure out how your kids learn, all that good stuff. And when you're a salmon swimming upstream, take a step back. Your kids are not going to do it. They're not going to be like, I've been noticing that there's a lot of friction whenever we're doing creative writing. They're never going to do that, really. That's on you. You're the grown-up. You're steering this ship. And I know that feels overwhelming in the beginning, but you can do it. But you have to take a step back and be like, what we are doing is not working. And we do not need to continue banging our head against the wall. We can change something. So don't be afraid to change it, to blow it up and do something completely different. You can. That's the beauty of homeschooling. It's totally flexible.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I think I mentioned it before in the podcast, right? But in our home, it was writing, not creative writing so much as more like academic writing and figuring out the paragraph and then the 5-paragraph essay and that kind of stuff. And we struggled so much with that. And so many of the other pieces of our curriculum and our schooling came together fine. But we just could not find the answer for writing. And we tried so many different curriculum. We tried so many different online teachers, online courses. We got recommendations from the groups. We got recommendations directly from OutSchool for things that might work, specific things. And like, it just didn't matter. Like writing always ended in tears, mine and his. And we retooled so many times and we just could not find a solution that did not end in tears. And it took us, I'm going to say, man, probably almost 3 years before we finally found the thing that worked for my kiddo. And the sad part is we were a month or 2 into it. And he was like, do you realize that since we started using this, we haven't cried at all? Neither one of us has cried. Isn't that great? And I'm like, I mean, first off, yes, obviously it's great that we haven't cried trying to do writing. But second off, how freaking awful that it took us that many years of retooling and trying all of the things and all of the methods and all of the styles and all of the teachers and all of the extra, and he's the one that's like, isn't it great for neither one of us to cry about writing anymore? It's hard. And it doesn't matter how good you are at homeschooling. If something isn't working, it just isn't working. And it's okay. Keep trying. I'm a firm believer in the fact that eventually you'll figure out the right way that works. Again, not the right way for your kiddo, the right way that works for you and your kiddo. And it's worth it. You have the flexibility to do that and to find that. You shouldn't both be crying on the regular.
Well, and I feel like that perfectly dovetails into the next one, right? Because we also see then comments where people are like, they can't get up from the table until they've written the paragraph, or then no electronics until they've written the paragraph or something. And in your case, that wasn't going to be the solution ever. You needed a different approach. So yeah, our next point is.
Yeah, right. Focus on the long game. Like what is more important? The fact that your kiddo finished this worksheet today, or they finished this paragraph today, or that your kiddo is learning to love the process of learning. I hope that if you're listening to our podcast, your goal is to develop a lifelong love of learning for your kiddo. That is something that homeschoolers are uniquely positioned to be able to do and give to our children. This understanding that life is constantly full of learning opportunities and that acquiring knowledge is actually a really awesome, exciting, thrilling thing to be able to do. And of course, we all go through phases, right? Where it's like, I can't learn one more thing. I can't read anything of any importance. I'm going to sit and watch a TV show and zone out, like I'm not reading and I'm not. But generally speaking, right, the ability to have critical thinking and to be able to analyze things and to learn new things and adapt and change throughout life, that's what we're wanting to teach our kiddos. And if you forget that in the process of having a battle of wills over a worksheet or a writing assignment, you're just throwing water on a fire. You're putting out that desire, that fire in your kiddo to actually enjoy learning. And so I know it's hard, especially if you're on the more academic side of homeschooling. It can be so hard to be like, this is not working and I don't know what the right answer is, but I'm going to take a step back and figure out what the right answer is or figure out what we're going to try next. And we're not going to worry about it for a few weeks or we're going to change programs. I know that can be hard, but it's so important to just remember, what is the ultimate goal? Is the ultimate goal for this worksheet to be finished? Or is it for your kiddo to learn this concept in a way that keeps them wanting to learn more science or more math or more whatever? Because a lot of times fighting over this worksheet isn't actually going to help your bigger goal, which is for your kiddo to learn algebra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that leads into the next point. We've really sequenced these beautifully. In that,
it doesn't happen often, but look at us.
I know. In that, this goes back to the bigger picture and defining that bigger picture, like you talked about from the 101 course that we offer. Defining your bigger picture. Why are you homeschooling? What does an ideal day of learning look like? What do you want for your kids 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What from the traditional education system are you intentionally choosing to leave behind? And being very selective about what you let into your homeschool environment, because things have a really sneaky way of jumping in without you noticing, because it's force of habit, because it's what we know. I like to talk about the fact that when I launched into the world as an adult, we were young adults. We had bought our first house and I didn't have an infinite grocery budget. And one day I was out with some girlfriends and they were passing around coupons for dish soap. And I think it was Palmolive they were passing around dish soap coupons for. And they were like, oh my gosh, Palmolive goes buy one, get one free. And then if you put the coupon on top of the buy one, get one free, you can get dish soap for like next to nothing. And I was like, oh, I have always bought Dawn dish soap because that's what my mother bought. And so it was that thing. I realized I was using all the same products my mom was using. I was using the same laundry detergent, the same dish soap, the same this. And it's that thing with school where it can just sink right in and you don't even make a conscious choice sometimes to add these things to your life. They just show up there because it's what you know. And then I was like, hold on. I don't have the budget my parents have because I'm 23. I should be using Palmolive dish soap and I should be using more budget products that are available. I don't have to use these things just because my mom did. And so it's the same thing when it comes to school, being very, very selective about the things from the public school system or the traditional school system that you're willing to take and willing to keep, and being very conscious of the things that you are actively trying not to do. And that's where those workbook activities come in really handy, because you are actually writing all of these things down. There's guided activities and things like that. And so when you have a day where you're like, okay, I need to do this, or you see a Facebook post with some shiny thing that you're like, oh, I have to have this thing. You're like, hold on. Does this align with what I have established for myself and my family and my children and my goals? No. Okay, then that shiny thing is great for that other person, but it's not great for me because I have defined what I'm all about here. So be super selective. You can. You're the boss.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's it. You get to decide, and you don't need to let anyone else or anything else decide for you. Okay. We're almost done. I promise. This is, again, just like food for thought for everyone. But I don't know how many times in the last week or two I have seen posts where people are like, but how do I make sure that my homeschool kid can go to college? Do they have to take their GED? Do they this? Do they that? If you're just getting started on this journey and this happened to be the first episode you stumbled on, we've covered this tons in other episodes. Go back and look. But your kid can 100% go to college, go to trade school, go to an Ivy League, or not do any of that at all if that's not what they want. But anything that any other kid out there is doing as they progress through traditional brick and mortar school, your kiddo can do that same thing. You might need to put a little bit of extra work into making sure that they have whatever foreign language requirements for their ideal school, or, this many years of math because they really want to go to MIT. There are those kinds of requirements, but you can 100% do that as the homeschool parent who will be providing a transcript for your child and graduating your child as a homeschooler. They can take that out into the world and do anything that any of their peers are interested in doing. Your kid can do it. You can do it. You can help them. It's going to be amazing. It can 100% work out.
True story. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we talked today about so many things that are important for new homeschoolers to know. And we shared a bit about our courses that we offer. Listen, we want these to be accessible to basically everyone. Our courses range in price from $17 to $27. They are super affordable.
We have like $399. Like, yeah, the number of $399 courses I'm seeing on social media right now. I'm like, who else buying $400 courses? I don't even not me. For anyone listening, clearly not me.
We don't have anything out there at this point, at the time that we're recording this, for over $30. And I can't imagine that we're ever going to release a $399 course, but you never know. But I highly doubt it. So listen, we have hundreds of episodes of podcasts available. We have a Patreon community where we do live events and we do Q&As and all that kind of stuff. We have our courses. But if all of that is still not enough to keep you from staring at the ceiling at night going, I am completely going to screw my kids up and this is terrifying. And you're thinking, I need somebody to tell me exactly what I need to be doing with my child tomorrow or next week or next month when we start homeschooling. We can do that too. We offer one-on-one coaching sessions. There's a link in our show notes. You can go book a session with either Amanda or me or both of us, and we'll both come hang out with you. And we leave those sessions with all sorts of resources and advice and information that is 1000% tailored and specified to your needs. So if nothing else that we've talked about is giving you peace of mind and you still don't feel like you have clarity to put one foot in front of the next and walk that path forward, that's okay. We've got you. I mean, there's a reason we offer this. You're not the only one feeling that way. So come, we are happy to help.
Well, that's it. And with the coaching sessions, the thing that's interesting is it runs the gamut. There are people who come for coaching that are like, I don't even know. Like, everything exploded last week at school. I had to pull my 14-year-old kid out of school. And where do I even start? We have to have curriculum. The school says if we're withdrawing, we have to provide this, that, and the other thing. And I don't even know where to start. We're happy to help. If you're in a pinch and you're like, we're happy to help. But then we get the other side of it where people have been homeschooling for quite a while. But things are changing. Maybe their kiddos, are moving in upper elementary, middle school, or for a long time they were able to do kind of like combined unit study stuff because the kids were on the same page. And now the kids aren't really on the same page. They have different interests. They don't want to do the same things. And they have a really good idea of what they want to do and what they want it to look like. They just want some other people to be like, yeah, you're doing an awesome job. You're doing amazing. Maybe think about looking into this, or maybe this curriculum would be really interesting for your one kiddo, or have you heard about this program for your other kiddo? They might enjoy those kinds of things, but for the most part, across the board, you are doing amazing. And it's awesome, right? Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. We like to end every podcast episode with a mantra. And today's mantra is short and sweet because we are all about the basics today, but sometimes you do just need a reminder. So here it goes. Deep breaths. You've got this, and your kids are lucky to have you.
True story. Yeah, absolutely. If you sat here for an hour listening to everything that a new homeschooler needs to know, you're doing amazing because you're learning the things, you're diving in, you're listening to advice from veteran homeschoolers, you're growing, and your kids are going to absolutely benefit from all of that, the time and energy and caring that you're putting into their education. So we'll get you there. Don't you stress. We'll get you there. You can do this.
That's it. It's that thing, right? They always say it's always the parents or caregivers who are like, well, I'm really worried about this thing with my kiddo. Like, how do I know for sure? And it's like the fact that you're worrying about it means you're doing good. So you're here, you're listening, you're engaged, you're trying to do better. You're doing great. Yeah, you've got this.
As a parent with like 10-star anxiety, I'm a stellar parent then because I'm always worrying about something. I like that. I love it. Oh my gosh. All right, everybody. Happy homeschooling. Have an awesome rest of your day. And thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, have a great one.